All right, take a couple of seconds and just look at this picture. When you're ready, see if you can answer these questions. I'll pull the picture up afterwards. Who or what was the picture about? What are some of the details you recall from the picture? And in one sentence, tell me what is the point of the picture? What's the artist trying to convey, or what's his main objective or main point? Hit pause and see if you can answer them. Okay, so let's take another look. Who or what is the picture about? Did you say it was about a school fight? If you did something about that, the details might have been the young girl. You might have remembered her sitting on the bench and she has dirty knees and a black eye and messed up hair. She looks quite happy and satisfied. There's a man in the principal's office looking out at her. And what's the painter's main idea? It's a schoolgirl waiting to see the principal after she had a fight at school. Did you have something like that? Well, the reason why I had you do this is because what you just did was identify the main idea of the picture. And that's really important, especially when you're reading, and especially when you're reading academic text, because the main idea is the central point that the writer or speaker makes, and in essence, summarizes his or her major details. Sometimes the writer states the main idea directly in a sentence, or sometimes the main idea is unstated. Now, our textbook author calls the main idea a topic sentence. It's not really the same thing. It is the same thing, it's different terms. When we read, we should be talking about main idea. When we write, we craft topic sentences. They have the same elements, though. They're all about the central point. So where can you find if the author writes a sentence that's the main idea? We often think, well, it's the beginning of the passage, but that's not necessarily true, especially in academic text. It can be anywhere. Okay? It's probably most often found towards the beginning. Sometimes it's the end. But when you're reading college textbook material, the main idea is stated only about half of the time. So you should always mark the main idea when you're reading a textbook. If it is in the paragraph, mark it when you mark and annotate the text. Well, how do I do that, Miss Holmes? Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you a text from Emergency Care. It's an EMT textbook. I want you to, in your head, underline some details that are important, and then think, well, what are those details adding up to? What's the main idea? And see if you can find the sentence. So when I switch the screen, hit pause, read it, and then I'm going to show you what I did. So go ahead and hit pause and read it. All right. So let me show you what I did. Okay. I have these details marked, number 1, number 2, number 3, and then I thought the main idea was this last sentence. Okay. A thorough primary assessment focused on rapid evaluation of both airway and breathing and identifies immediate life threats associated with the airway and respiratory system. Okay. This ties in all of these details above it. The first thing that you want to do when you identify main idea is identify the topic. And you looked in that in the previous chapter. So once you find the topic, it's going to help you identify the main idea. Whether that main idea is stated, as in this paragraph, or if it's unstated, sometimes called implied. You're going to do these couple of steps regardless of whether you find a stated or an implied main idea. So you want to ask yourself, what's the topic? Okay. Who or what is this paragraph about? Topics are not complete sentences, remember? Okay. So causes of airway obstruction, how to assess airway obstruction, those are not complete sentences. Then you go through and you look at the major details. You number them, okay, if there's many. And then you ask yourself, well, what's the point the author is making about the topic? What is his or her most important point about that topic I identified? The answer is the main idea, and it should be stated in a complete sentence. Okay. If that sentence is written, it's a stated main idea. If it is not, you have to write it. And when you annotate your text, you write implied or unstated main ideas in the margins. And that way, when you turn your marks and annotations into notes, you have all of the main points, regardless of if they're stated or implied. Okay, so give it a shot. You're going to read the next passage. It's called Mechanics of Breathing. And then see if you can identify the topic and the most important point the writer is making about the topic. So go ahead, hit pause, and see what you can come up with. Okay, so you want to notice these major details. I numbered them here for you. Look at this word conversely. That gives us a little signal, right? So we've got these two details that are opposite of each other. So we want to say something like, there is a difference between the active process of inhalation versus the passive process of exhalation. Because inhalation is this, exhalation is that. These were the main idea, or these were the details, sorry, in the paragraph. So this is the author's point about those details. Right? You're going to be practicing identifying stated and main ideas in your Learn, Smart, Achieve and through your textbook. I cannot stress how important it is to identify the main idea. If you can't figure topic and main idea out, you're going to get lost in all of those details. Think about it this way. If I gave you a bag of 1,000 puzzle pieces, just in a Ziploc bag, and said, build the puzzle, what would you say to me at first? Probably like, what? Huh? No way. But if I gave you that same puzzle and inside the bag was a picture of what it was supposed to look like at the end, you'll probably get a little bit further in building that puzzle, assembling it, because you know what the big picture is. The same thing occurs when you're reading. You have to know what that big picture is. And that will help you figure out the important details that you need to know about that big picture. It makes studying and remembering the information so much easier. It also makes decoding the text a lot easier because now you know, oh, this is the topic, the who or what the paragraph is about, and this is the main idea, the author's most important point about that topic. And once you figure those two out, kind of the rest of the section unlocks itself for you. So go back through this module in Blackboard, make sure you take notes, make sure you read the textbook chapters carefully, and that you think about the practice in your Learn, Smart, Achieve. You should be doing this with every text that you read, regardless of the class and regardless of the kind of text. You should be identifying the topic and the main idea first.